Greetings, fellow Earthlings, and welcome back to the Nerd Variety Podcast. I am your host, Hannah, and I am joined by the other two hosts, Hunter
Yes.
and Josh.
Hey.
Yes, we are all co-hosts. This week we're going to be talking about streaming and YouTube, specifically when it comes to gaming. There's a lot that goes into this topic, but I want to first just start out by sort of setting the groundwork for what our different perspectives on this topic are, right? So, as far as I know, I would say I'm the biggest consumer of gaming-related content out of the group. As far as I know.
Depends on what you mean by that. In terms of live streaming and other people playing games,
right.
Probably, yeah.
Right, but Hunter, you actually stream, so that's different. Yeah. And Josh, I don't really know about your relationship with gaming content on YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah, I'm more of a YouTube consumer myself. I will watch, as we'll talk about later, I pertain more to walkthroughs and let's play videos, and just trying to get into Twitch. Finding the right game or watching Twitch streams. Sometimes just trying to find the right ones.
Well, you should watch my Twitch streams.
Which we can find where, Hunter?
On my Twitch page. Twitch.tv/zab _gaming.
Yeah, shameless self-promotion. Woo!
No, I'm a little bit ashamed.
A little bit shameful. Okay, good. So, and then Hunter, you do streaming, clearly.
Yes, we've established this.
How much actual intake of gaming videos do you have?
So I don't really watch other people stream. I have in the past, like before I started streaming, and then since I've watched probably less, honestly. But for me, well, I can get into later why and the progression of all that. But
I was about to ask you, so.
Oh well, so I can get into that now.
Yeah, go for it.
So it probably really started for me. I don't know exactly what year. Probably early YouTube days, early-ish YouTube days. But I was always a fan of guides, like game guides for a lot of things. One that I remember having and using to death basically was the guide for Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, just because there was so much to do in that game and you kind of needed a guide for all these things to do. And so we had that one. It was like all torn up. I don't even know if we still have it anywhere. But yeah, I liked those for a lot of different games because, they're just useful to find.
You're talking about like actual book guides.
Yeah, book
guides. Not video guides, because that's a thing.
Yeah, and then, I also, probably before YouTube, and when I didn't want to spend all of my money on those guides, I remember there were some websites like GameFAQs or something that you could go to and you could print off a walkthrough. So we had some printouts of a lot of different walkthroughs. But then, once like YouTube started coming along and people started doing those kinds of videos, then it was a lot easier and took up a lot less space, money, ink, paper, just to watch videos and be like, so, okay, how exactly do I do this? And you can actually watch somebody play through something. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And how do I do that? So, you can take it and it just, it kind of feels like a natural progression from there. For me, it's always been in terms of like, how do I do something in the game? Like if I'm stuck at a place that I just can't figure anything out. And usually I get disappointed and upset at myself because it's an easy thing. It's like, oh yeah, it's actually this small little thing that you missed.
Quit.
Yeah, it might be easy, but maybe it's not obvious.
Yeah. But and then also with Twitch, it really came. I really got into it as much as I did from especially when I had to buy my own games once I got to that age. I really wanted to know before I bought a game, is this actually going to be something I'm going to enjoy? Like, I'm hearing a lot of people about it, or I'm hearing a lot about it from different people, a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff, but I really want to know and kind of see it. So I would do a lot of reviews, or I would watch a lot of reviews like IGN, GameSpot, all that. But then that even eventually gets to a point where that's still somebody else's opinion, and they're showing you very selective things, and some of them get paid to tell you certain stuff and give it a certain rating.
But it seems like overall, like your the type of media around games that you prefer is less entertainment based and more instructional based,
Yeah.
or more
generally.
informative, educational.
Yeah. And so
Whatever
like
word you wanna
when
use.
I would do Twitch, it would usually have been when I watched it, it would be like, okay, so I've heard some stuff, I know some stuff, but I want to see how it actually plays once it's live. So I'd watch some people and get a feel for like how a game legitimately plays, and if it would be something along the lines of games that I like or not. And so that's
Okay.
what I used it for.
Okay.
I was never like someone to just watch somebody stream an entire game.
Gotcha. Okay. Josh, how about you?
Yeah, I want to make a clever comment about millennials killing the guide industry. But yeah, that's generally how it works.
We
Just
started out with
rebooting it. Just
industry.
rebooting it. Just rebooting it.
rebooting. Yeah. Are you sure it's not a sequel? It's not a remake?
Moving on.
Okay, yeah.
Wah.
But yeah, using guides, seeing a lot less of those now, but I think it was also good when YouTube came out with a lot of, let's play or walkthrough videos, or just or Achievement Hunter was big thing I watched when I started getting into games, and it didn't really have a lot of access to people that played those games, and didn't really have a lot of people talk about, like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this, yada yada yada. Couldn't really get on Xbox Live like I wanted to play with someone, but those were good for me to watch and just kind of have that sense of community about the game, and it helped me get all the achievements that I couldn't get on my own. And I think they're just a good way for someone to put themselves out there, and and I think walkthroughs are still, even if you're not really entertained by watching someone play the game, a walkthrough is also good for, I'm not sure if I like this game or not. Let's watch someone play it,
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important what you touched on, which is the idea of community, right? Which is something I think that is lost on, the older generations who are like, why don't you watch TV anymore, right? Why do you prefer YouTube? And like, there really is that sense of like surrounding yourself with people who have the same things as you.
Yeah.
Really cool. Hunter, you're gonna say something?
No, why?
No. All right, you open your mouth. I figured you were gonna say something.
I said yeah.
Okay.
Just
So it
words.
sounds like, have you guys like ever watched gaming just from like an entertainment standpoint?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's this guy who does some of the Soulsborne games. Actually, he does all of them, and I think it's interesting because he does these challenge runs. He does the no-hit runs. So he's gone through like all of the games. Like, I don't know if he did it in a specific order, but all of them back to back. Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne back to back without getting hit at all. And it's like, that's impressive. I want to watch somebody do that. Maybe not sit for the whole time, but come in, watch some of the really impressive stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh?
Because I look, watching that stuff, I'm like, I can never do that in the actual game, but that's cool that that's possible. And then watching, them, test the limits of the game with, we made this mod here. Let's check it out. Let's see how it plays. It's like, oh, cool. I'm never going to do that in my lifetime. Let's see how it looks. And then seeing, challenges in the game, things that are like, okay, this is possible. I can do this, or just watching people just have fun with with the game, and just enjoying themselves.
Okay, because
Speed runs are also fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it sounds like, again, I'm going to go ahead and say a little bit more confidently now that I'm the biggest consumer of gaming content, like purely for recreational reasons. So it's really interesting to sort of get these different perspectives. And I really do want to know what you guys think about. The one that comes to mind would be the Game Grumps, who are very much like a personality, and they kind of suck at games. Like, I just want to know. I just want to know from your guys' perspective, like, what is the appeal? Is there any appeal of that to you?
I mean,
because it seems to me like they're really just personalities.
To me, not really. Like, I would rather. Well, because to me, it's more about the game, and I would rather play a game than watch somebody else do it. Also, because there's that sense of control that I don't have if I'm watching somebody else do it. And then, especially like you're saying, if they're bad at it, I'm just like, stop sucking, do better. I tell myself that a lot too, but at least I have more control over that.
Patrick, my husband, gets very, very upset when gamers play, especially if they're games that he's familiar with, and he's like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. So like Jacksepticeye recently started playing Minecraft, and Patrick's been playing Minecraft for years. And I was just like, that's not how you do that. Just constantly.
Forehead vein is just starting to twitch.
Oh yeah. But it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not, if there's no appeal of that to you.
There is maybe a little bit, like just one example, and this is still kind of also along, I only watched these because I was curious about the gameplay and because he got entertaining. He was pretty entertaining. I watched Markiplier's playthroughs of, I think, every Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Yeah, well, he's the king of
Five Nights at Freddy's. They don't take very long, which I appreciate. I watched his YouTube ones, which are edited to make it shorter.
Yeah. Well, and definitely, none of us are doing great financially, shall we say. So if there's a game that you have sort of a mild to moderate interest in, but you're not really in, I don't think Five Nights at Freddy's costs very much, but it's still, there's like
still too expensive
17 games or something at this point, and if they're $5 a piece, it adds up, right? So YouTube being a free way to watch these games, I think is really, really nice, because you don't necessarily want to buy all of them.
Yeah. Right.
And so I think that can also, I think that also goes if, if it's a game that is like it's better from a story perspective instead of a gameplay perspective, then some people will just watch it for the story, and they don't. It's kind of like watching a movie, except it's a game.
Yeah. Games are, I think we might have talked about this in another episode, but I think games are kind of can be called movies, or or your favorite become your favorite series if you let them be. And then having to where someone can play the game and then actually let you see the story, and see how, because a lot of the story you get from playing the game, and it adds, and you'll get to kind of have that same experience by watching it.
Yeah, and I would even argue that like gaming has become a new way of doing storytelling. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can do in games that you can't really do in a book or a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And we've talked about that like personal connection you have with the game because you're controlling the main character. Right? And even watching someone do that, right, is a little bit different from just having these figures on a screen that you have like no connection to.
Yeah.
I think. I was gonna say something else and I completely forgot.
It's because I cut you off. It's my fault.
I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh.
There it is.
It's somewhere.
Oh, here, let me talk about something else.
No. I was gonna ask about, because we've talked about, like, we've thrown a couple of words around, and I want to talk a little bit more concretely about like the different
Sorry, that
types
word almost
of,
hit me.
I know, I'm sorry. I just,
Threw it right past my face.
sort of the different types of gaming stuff there is, right? So we've talked about walkthroughs and like commentaries and like what are the, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know either.
I had a coherent thought like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, you can do. There's plenty of, oh, you have your pick of the litter. You have, oh, do I want to watch a walkthrough? Do I want to watch a funny let's play video where they might have some commentary about the game, like just they do funny voices for the characters. They just have a review and they edit it to size. Yes.
Well, and
borderline machinima.
And actually,
or borderline abridged.
When you say that, about the funny voices and everything, I don't watch it a lot anymore, actually. But occasionally, I would watch the. I don't remember. I think it's Stream 4-Star or something. The Renegade for Life.
Yeah.
Where the guy for Dragon Ball Z Abridged is doing his Vegeta plays.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty good generally.
Yeah.
The only gaming videos that I can think of that I definitely watch for a specific purpose, and it falls into that walkthrough category, is the Persona games. If you guys are familiar.
Yeah.
Because, and I've played a couple of them on my own, but there's a specific guy that I watch, and it's nice to be able to watch those games rather than play them, because even when you're like watching almost like highlight videos, it's still a crazy time sink because JRPGs are insane.
Yeah.
Right? But they're cutting out like a ton of grinding that you don't have to do if you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I appreciate about the way he does it is he actually has a walkthrough himself. Right? So when you're playing the games, there's a ton of different characters and like skills and stuff, and he plays through a walkthrough where you get like you max out all your friendships and you max out all your skills. And even if I was playing the game, I don't want to play it that way.
Yeah, that's a
right
investment, but he knows that someone's going to want to watch that version of the game.
Right, and I think it's somewhere like I would put it maybe in the same category as like achievement hunting.
Yeah,
it's kind of in the same.
And there's all these different reasons to watch a stream, and honestly for me, that's, as a streamer, that's something that I'm still kind of having trouble with, like figuring out, because I know why some people would watch a stream and I know why I would watch a stream, so I tend to not do any of it very well in my opinion. I've tried to just be quiet and watch a lot or let a lot of the story play out, but then people weren't really hanging around too long, so I've also kind of just added my own commentary over things. But then I get like, well, what if people are leaving? What if people come in and leave because they're not able to hear the story because I'm talking over it? And it's just,
well, that's why I told you to turn on subtitles.
I can't turn it on in all my games. I was trying. They don't have a subtitle option for Assassin's Creed. At least not the first one, which is really weird.
I'm not sure. I don't know if I believe you.
You can go watch my streams. I looked for the subtitles a few times.
Well, in terms of streaming, I actually watched a streamer a good bit of the time who plays games and hardly talks about them at all, but instead spends the whole time like talking directly to the chat and people who are donating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that is weird for me.
See, I've seen a lot of people do that, and I wonder if I should do that. That's why sometimes I'll also just throw up random conversation starters in there and just talk about random things. I'm like, maybe this is what people want. I don't, because it's one of those things I've seen people do that.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, I think that you've noticed that it's easier to continue talking about something when I'm joining you for a stream.
Yeah.
And you have someone to bounce off of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because I imagine, especially if there's no one in the chat, just trying to be like, I'm funny and there's no one here.
Yeah.
It's got to be awkward.
Yeah, and just trying to keep a conversation up because you don't want someone to come in, especially with that delay between where someone comes in when you actually see that they're in, and then they may have to sit through a commercial. I don't know. So, yeah, you don't want just silence, because then they're going to be like, well, this is boring.
Right.
So it's
Well, unless you're playing very well, then maybe they're just enjoying the spectacle.
or
But
maybe they're not.
still, but you are going to have have to cater to your audience. Going to have people. Yeah, it's just something to remember to have to maybe experiment with different things with commentary, funny commentary, having someone to talk to or talking with people in there, or just having ones that are just focused on the gameplay, and kind of figuring out what your audience is coming for.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's the appeal of Twitch, because you have people that are better at one of those three things.
Yeah. The only thing, my main problem with Twitch though is like there's, and I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but there's so many people, like you can't just find a streamer that does exactly what you want. They may be buried way down in there, and so like unless you already know them or something, then it's going to be tough to find a lot of people.
I definitely have spent some time on Twitch scrolling all the way down to the bottom of the list and finding people who have no one watching and watching their stuff, and I've found some gems actually.
Yeah.
One guy in particular, I don't watch
Like
his stuff
me?
all that much anymore. No, I
Me?
already knew about you. You don't count.
Oh.
There was this guy. He had awful video quality. Just for the record, like the game looked horrible. I couldn't he didn't have a face cam, but he was playing Slime Rancher, which is just this really cute game where you're running around, you're vacuuming up slimes, and you have like a little farm. It sounds weird, but it's really cute.
Yeah, I got it.
And he had just this like very chill, like sort of deep, slightly southern accent. And so it was just very relaxing to listen to. And I was like, I'm into this.
Kind of like ASMR.
Yeah. And you hear the little slimes. You hear the little slimes in the background going like, woohoo! You're just like, this is lovely. It was great. So, but I understand that, like, I don't feel like there's a lot of people out there who go down to the bottom of the list and find someone who doesn't have any viewers.
Honestly, though, nobody should have 0 viewers. There should always be at least 1 viewer.
Yeah, I think there usually is. But
you should always be watching yourself.
Do we know how many Twitch streamers are out there?
A lot.
Do we have like an estimated figure?
I don't know.
I'm sure Hannah's
I can
Google
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Millions.
I'm guessing maybe billion.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
2.2 million?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Is the immediate answer I get.
For
as
streamers,
of May 2018. As of May 2018, it had 2.2 million broadcasters monthly.
Okay. That didn't include me.
So that's going to be on the census.
It's probably gone up since then.
Yeah, that was about 6 months before I started streaming.
It'll be a question on the 2020 census. Do you stream?
Maybe. So one of the biggest questions that I wanted to ask today is, coming from sort of like the top end of this generation where we watch YouTube and gaming specifically, acknowledging that like younger generations are completely like sucked into it. Not stupid, just like Fortnite is such a trend, like the gaming has become such a big thing, and also acknowledging the older generations that are like, why do you guys watch video games when you could play them, right? Like,
it's kind of what I'm in.
Are you? I'm like, why do you watch sports when you can play them? I don't understand.
I don't watch sports either. I'm in the same boat with sports too.
But I want to know, from your guys' perspective, like, why has gaming gotten so big? Like, even if you don't understand the appeal personally, like, do you have any hypotheses as to, like, why is it such a big deal these days?
I mean, I'm sure it has to do with I'm sure it has to do with like that sense of community that you were saying. Again, for me, it's still a question mark. It's still just a question. So I don't see the appeal in watching other people game.
It's kind of like picking, like how we have so many options for watching TV. Like you don't have to get a cable subscription, or don't have to restrict yourself to 3 channels while someone stands outside with the antenna and watch at a specific time in a specific place. I was hanging out with some younger relatives, and they all had their phones out, and they were all watching different streams on their phones. So I think the older one was watching a Twitch stream, the other one was actually playing, and the other one was watching like YouTube. So it's that you can pick and choose what you want to watch or play, and it's just a little way to either escape, turn your brain off, or if you actually want to engage and play a game with other people.
Yeah, there's definitely just like a numbers aspect of it, I think, because there is YouTube has like days worth of content uploaded every hour or something, right? I don't know that number exactly. And then there's also the fact that that like gaming can require a lot of editing, right? And if you're talking about like making a YouTube video about gaming, it can require a lot of editing, and of course to the technology, right? You have to have a really good computer for most games. But in general, there's not a lot of like pre-work that goes into it, unlike a lot of like scripted stuff that you see on YouTube.
I guess it depends on what you mean by that.
Because mean?
So like the videos that I did, my Assassin's Creed videos that I did, the music videos, those did require a good bit of prep work.
Sure.
Like I had to go in and just take the time to capture a good bit of footage of every game to make sure I got what I needed, and then find music and then try to edit everything together to put it to time. Editing, honestly, for me personally, that's no big deal. That doesn't necessarily take a long time. Like, and maybe it just doesn't feel like it because I just personally really enjoy it.
Yeah, but I think of channels, specifically the Game Grumps come to mind again, where I don't really think they do much editing. Like their videos seem pretty much like you start recording and then you stop recording, and that's what goes up, right? Yeah. So I feel like it's. I don't think it's easy to. You do or you don't?
I do.
I do too. I don't think it's easy to make gaming videos, but I think it's easier to make gaming videos than like, I don't know.
Podcast scripted
anything that's scripted, anything with like sketches or anything where you're writing music, right? Anything along those lines.
Music, I feel like I think can be pretty easy.
It's true. It depends on the quality. And I don't mean the quality of music, I just mean quality of recording and video and all that stuff.
Well, yeah.
Especially if it's original music, they have to actually write music.
It always depends. Because it depends on if you're actually writing it or if, and the length of it, like what it's for. So like a lot of times for me, when I'm doing stuff, I've done a good number of like little themes and stuff. So that doesn't necessarily take a long time. You just kind of throw some stuff together that sounds good, and you just kind of mix it and put it all up there. And it doesn't necessarily take a long time. You don't even have to write it out. But if you do like a song, it also just depends, Sorry, this is stuff where I'm getting off topic and want to be very, I don't know.
I'm talking about like a YouTube channel that's dedicated to like music videos. Like I can think of a couple that I know of that do, song mashups, and they write their own stuff, and they have like this really amazing production value and like multiple cameras and all this stuff. Like there's a lot that can go into that stuff. Whereas I feel like it's relatively simple. I won't say easy, but relatively simple to start a gaming channel.
Yeah, they made it really easy for you to go into your Xbox Live or just to set up like, oh, you want to record yourself playing that, or you want to record clips of you playing and share them with your friends. Yeah, we got you. No problem. We'll give you the tech to do that instead of having to set up, some kind of weird software on your computer and making sure you can record yourself playing and be able to, and then have to edit that all together yourself. It's a lot more simple now.
I would say that is very similar, though. That works almost the same way as it does with music, because like, again, it really depends on the quality that you're going for, because there's plenty of free applications you can do to record music, and it can turn out just fine in the right hands. Same with gaming, though. Like, you can record stuff like from your Xbox, from PS4, from your computer if you have a good enough computer. But if you want higher quality, then it'll take some extra work, prep work, and all that. When I was first started streaming, I went from like my PS4 directly, and it wasn't very good because it has its own format. But then I also ended up getting a game video capture card, so I would have to hook it up and go through all this stuff where I would like hook up to my laptop, and from that I would hook up that into my console into my laptop, and my laptop into my monitor, or maybe it was slightly different, but it can get into all that stuff. About it. Yeah, it can get into all that stuff, and then you got to get a camera and a microphone, and again, you can increase your quality, but yeah, it's very all over the place. It's very dependent on what you're going for and who's doing it.
Yeah, well, and it's possible that my perception of how easy it is a little bit skewed.
Yes.
Because I have a pretty good computer already, and like this and my backdrop and my lights are all from my job, right? So, and I have a really good internet connection because I, talk with people across the country. So for me to start streaming was really easy, right? But still, I feel like if you have a moderate computer, it's relatively easy to put moderate content out there.
Yeah, but it's also, I probably also am rather biased in my outlook on this, because I studied both film and video and music. Literally my major and then my minor. So
my major was physics education.
Actually, music audio production was my major, then computer science, then film, and then music was my minor. Yeah.
I want to bring up I have a question about something we haven't quite drifted toward yet, but the money part of streaming.
Did you have thoughts on it, or is this just something you're?
Well, I mean, my thoughts. I think it's definitely become a not to say, I don't want to use the word gimmick. I don't know if that's the right word either, but it's become a thing where, hey, it's Twitch stream, you can get money, and people have taken that very far, and a lot of people have made. I mean, they probably don't do just Twitch streaming or YouTube streaming, but they do other things in making content, but they can make a lot of money from Twitch streaming. I'm sure you guys would know a little more about that.
Well, I think just in general, and this is actually a big conversation that's up in politics right now. I think in general, right, like...
In general,
minimum wage jobs suck.
Just in general.
Minimum wage jobs are no fun and aren't really generally a way that we can make a living, right? And a lot of jobs are becoming automated, right? So there are just less jobs out there, right? And I feel like as that continues, right, because minimum wage jobs are going to continue to suck and things are going to become more and more automated, what we're going to see is an influx of people doing creative things for a living, and we're already seeing it. And I think that's why people can make livings on YouTube and Twitch. And my sister's trying to become a blogger because there are people who make like a decent living off of being a blogger.
I always forget blogging as a thing. I saw it more of as a stepping stone for something for like journalism. Journalism, writing stories, or doing or writing scripts or something like that.
That's what she's
Yeah.
hoping. She's hoping for it to be a stepping stone. But
Yeah.
there are people who have successful blogs, and there are people who are like post photos on Instagram for a living, which is all crazy.
That seemed like the craziest to me.
Yeah.
Like I can understand a little more like blogging stuff, if you get advertisements and maybe you get sponsors, sure. And YouTube videos, streaming, same thing, advertisements, maybe sponsors. But Instagram, that's the one
I mean, people
Instagram
can get
is-
sponsors on Instagram.
that seems like the
I mean, usually if you
Fucking me.
are aware, if you're well known and popular, and you have you're kind of making a lot of things, you'll catch the eye if you of a consumer if you are wearing like, hey, check out, I love these sneakers by at Cool Shoe, people, you should check out at Cool Shoe people,
Yeah. By the
And
way,
that
we're not
probably works the same.
sponsored by Cool Shoe People. We're not.
Not yet anyway.
They're not our sponsor.
I think we should make them up. I think we should actually make cool shoes, and then we could sponsor ourselves.
We could.
We
Hey,
could.
we already have a sponsor. It's Zab Productions.
I haven't gotten any money yet.
Who said anything about money?
Sorry, I'm just
Bitcoin.
dying over here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's becoming more and more possible. I don't know. It's not as widely possible yet for a lot of people to like make a living solely off of content like this.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
define a lot of people. Certainly not like
But
the masses, but there's a lot of people who like make a living on the internet.
Not
Yeah.
solely off the internet.
well, yeah, there are not the masses, but a certain percentage of them that are, well known. They run advertisements and they're very popular.
Yeah.
Where
I would say
you can
it's a
see,
lot
you
of
can see
people.
they have like commas in their in their viewership.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's definitely not people that are doing just one kind of thing. Like, it wouldn't just be people doing video game videos on YouTube or just doing Twitch streaming.
Right.
Like, usually the people that are really making money are doing a lot of different things, and they really know how to market themselves, and they're putting in a lot of extra work, and it might not always be stuff that you see, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
a lot of
it's a
times
good way
people
to.
have teams.
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
good way to start out for making getting yourself out there with Twitch streaming, and then you naturally progress and put your hands out in other things to see what else you can see if you can make more earnings.
Yeah. One of the craziest things to me is that people like the one example that I think of is Good Mythical Morning. Right? Has been doing Good Mythical Morning for like 10 years now and has like a full
years.
company and recently bought Smosh all from
Oh yeah,
being on YouTube
I
for
forgot
so
about that.
long. Yeah. And it's just like crazy to me that they have a whole company and they
Yeah.
like have employees that they pay all based off of, I mean, they have like, their own website now that you have to like have a paid subscription. They have merch sales, right? But like it's all related to their core brand. It's like blows my mind.
Do they sell their own bathwater?
Their own what? Bathwater?
I think there was a Twitch streamer that
I
sells
don't
her.
know.
That was I'm gonna sell my bathwater, and
That's
I
gross.
just
That's
it was.
weird.
It's extremely gross, and I hate that I saw that as a thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
So
All right. Yep.
I think we should continue this discussion outside of the podcast. We should continue it in the community.
What?
We should hear back from people.
Do we
on
have a
page.
community?
Maybe.
If maybe.
We have social media platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram,
On the
Twitter.
gram.
Do we ever use any of these things?
yes.
Yes, we
And
do.
a YouTube page that
I'm
you may be
apparently-
watching this on.
Not in the loop about things we have.
Mm.
That's it for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let us know what your thoughts are. We would love to hear from you guys if you guys watch gaming videos, and if you do, why? What's up with that?
Why? And
Yeah.
why not me? Why
yeah,
not watch
why don't
me?
you watch Hunter stream? It's great.
Yeah.
I'm on it sometimes, which is
Yeah.
when it's extra great.
So cool.
Yeah. And Josh isn't on it because he
No.
doesn't have a good internet connection.
Nope.
Uh,
Yep. Just why I don't know. He currently looks frozen to me. Anyway, we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Right, so-
Bye.